Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the public informational meeting for project number 142-156, replacement of bridge 06975 on Industrial Park Road East over Gages Brook in the town of Tolland. In order to use closed captioning in Zoom, at the bottom part of your screen, you can click Show Captions, click the speaking language, and then select language you would like from the list shown. Closed captioning, including non-English translation options, will be available on YouTube after the live event. My name is Mark Burns, and I'm the program manager for the local program. My contact information is on the screen. And then a quick overview for the meeting tonight will be to interact with the rest of the project team, explain the federal local bridge programs, design managed by state or DMS program, project team introductions, well, welcoming remarks by the town of Tolland town manager, followed by a formal presentation of design progress, which will explain the condition of the existing bridge and define a purpose and need, as well as recommend a viable proposal. Now, please keep in mind our design is only at 30%, so this is at the time when we go to the public to show our design and then get comment. Following the presentation, there'll be an open forum for questions. I'll now read this slide, Title 6, Civil Rights. No person shall, on the basis of race, color, or national origin, be excluded from participation or subject to discrimination in the development of this project. We highly encourage you to fill out the voluntary post-meeting survey located at the QR code shown, as well as the hyperlink. There's also a hyperlink to the Department's Office of Equity, Title VI Civil Rights information. A recording of this presentation will be posted to the Department's YouTube channel after the event, and closed captioning, including non-English translation options, will be available on Zoom and on YouTube. This is another slide of CTDOT's Title VI notice to the public. And then the same in Spanish. During the Q&A session, you can select the Q&A tool at the bottom of the Zoom webinar window. Then you'll have a pop-up, which will be shown at the screen, as shown on the screen over here. You'll then type your question in the text box and click answer. And if you're an audio-only participant, please dial *9 to raise and lower your hand. You can also reach out to us by email at dot-flbp@ct.gov, by phone at 860-594-2020, which is a monitored voicemail line. So please reference project 142-156, and then during the Zoom Q&A. We also encourage you to visit the project webpage located at the hyperlink shown. Now, even though the Q&A session is only available during tonight's live session, the comment period is open through July 7th. So if you have a question that you think of later on, you can still reach out to us for 2 weeks. Funding for this project is through the Department's Federal Local Bridge Program, Design Managed by State, or DMS program. In the past, under the Federal Local Bridge Program, there was an 80% federal reimbursement and 20% town match for design, rights of way, and construction. Under the DMS program, design, rights of way, and construction phases are now funded with a minimum of 80% federal and a maximum of 20% state funds. So design, rights of way, and construction are at zero cost to the town. And even though the department has taken on the design tasks, it is still a full partnership, and we're coordinating with the town at all key milestones. The goals of the DMS program were to provide a streamlined approach to design using our DOT and consultant resources, aid the towns in keeping their bridges in a state of good repair by effective use of federal funds, decrease project design time from 48 to 60 months to a roughly 36-month design time schedule. Where applicable, utilize accelerated bridge construction or ABC techniques to shorten construction duration and to increase the number of municipal projects delivered to construction each year. Representing the department is Derek Lassard, our Division Chief of the Bridges. As I said, I'm Mark Burns, Supervising Engineer for the Local Bridge Program. Michelle Rame is the Project Engineer, and Zacharino represents our Office of Rights of Way. Representing GM2 Associates, who is our consultant liaison engineer who's taken the project to this milestone, are Mike Brady, Project Manager, and Dan Carnine, Project Engineer. Here's a brief slide showing key structural elements of a bridge. The driving or wearing surface is known as the deck. Protecting vehicles and pedestrians are the parapets, which will either be an open bridge rail system or in this case, a concrete parapet. Supporting the deck and parapet is a superstructure. In the case of this diagram, it's made out of steel beams. Supporting the superstructure are the abutments, and depending on the span length, a pier, or there may be multiple piers. And then for earth retaining or wing walls, that forms the substructure. Bridges are rated on a scale of 1 to 9, with 9 being in excellent condition and 1 being an imminent failure. But bridges are inspected on a biannual basis by the department. If there was any major structural issues, the town would be alerted to take action immediately. I'll now turn it over to Brian Foley, town manager, for some opening remarks. Brian?
Thank you, and good evening. First, I want to thank our projects and grants manager, Megan Massa, for applying for this grant. And we certainly, the town of Tolland could not afford to replace these bridges on our own. So thankfully, she was able to be notified of this program, apply for the grant, and be rewarded with funding from the federal government and the state of Connecticut. I do want to thank the state of Connecticut for selecting Tolland for this option. The town of Tolland has always worked hard to have a strong relationship with the state, and especially the Department of Transportation with 84, 195, 74, and 31 going through town. It's imperative that we do maintain a close relationship with DOT, and it looks to be continuing for a while, years to come now. We are looking forward to this project. We're looking at a couple different ways. One would be quicker, one would be longer, but we want to make it as least impactful on our businesses in that area and the residents who frequent those businesses. There's a lot for us to consider, not just the businesses, but sewer infrastructure. We thank everyone that's attending the meeting tonight and the state for having this meeting, because we want to be transparent and we want to hear concerns from our residents about this project, or our business owners as well about this project. So without any further, I pass it back to the state.
Thank you, Brian. I'll now turn it over to Dan Carnine for the formal presentation. Dan?
Thanks, Mark. Good evening, everyone. Like Mark said, my name is Dan Carnine from GM2. I am the liaison project engineer here to present the project-specific information tonight. I'll just start off by saying there's a couple federal bridge program projects in the town. Tonight, we'll be talking about the first one. That is project 142-156, replacement of bridge number 6975, Industrial Park Road East over Gages Brook in the town of Tolland. So the project is located approximately 0.2 miles southeast of the intersection with Route 30, Hartford Turnpike. This is an aerial view of the site showing the bridge is in a urban industrial park area. The bridge also provides the only access for businesses around the Industrial Park Road East cul-de-sac located to the south of the bridge. And there are no other options for detours. The existing structure is a triple cell corrugated metal pipe culvert consisting of 3 6-foot diameter pipes. And there's approximately 3 feet of cover over those pipes. The culvert is approximately 73 feet long, measured along the water course, and 24 feet long, measured along the roadway. There's a 10-foot measured channel width, a 33-foot curb to curb width, and the existing bridge is angled at a 25-degree skew. The roadway is classified as an urban local road with estimated ADT, or average daily traffic, of 105 vehicles per day. There's a 25-mile-per-hour posted speed limit and no sidewalks. This being an industrial park, there are a lot of utilities. So far, we've identified the overhead electric from Eversource Energy and Comcast Communications. There's underground utilities as well with Eversource Gas, Connecticut Water Company, and sanitary sewer from the town of Tolland, all within the project limits. Again, we are at the preliminary design phase for this project, and coordination is ongoing with utility companies to identify all impacts. So the utility impacts presented tonight are preliminary and subject to change. Looking at the existing culvert condition, The existing bridge is rated in poor condition with an overall rating of 4. There are areas of corrosion with 100% coating loss, areas of severe section loss, and then intermittent holes throughout. There are also areas of damaged joints, as well as deep bulges in the metal pipe. A couple more condition photos. That top left picture shows a corrosion hole at the water surface. The top right picture and the bottom left picture are showing typical damaged joints and typical bulging. And then that bottom right picture is showing inlet debris. Looking at the channel's in fair condition. However, there is sand, silt, and cobbles and organic debris like woods and sticks and branches that build up that cause the channel to change. That channel change has directed the majority of the flow from the brook into just one of the barrels, which is not ideal. So the purpose of this project is to address the structural deterioration of the existing culverts and provide a resilient replacement structure. The proposed improvements with this project involve a full bridge replacement. The new structure will have a 20-foot clear span measured normal to the abutments. It will have a 25-degree skew so that the bridge will be angled to match the existing skew angle. And then that skew would result in a 24-foot, 4-inch span measured along the roadway. The bridge will have a 33-foot curb to curb width, which consists of 12-foot travel lanes and varying shoulders, resulting in a 36-foot, 6-inch out-to-out width. The superstructure will be supported by semi-integral concrete abutments, which will be founded on spread footings on soil. On the top side of the bridge, we will have open metal bridge rail. We'll also have form liner finish for exposed substructure elements, and that'll create a simulated stone masonry appearance. And then we'll also have the metal beam guide rail along the approaches. The picture on the slide here is an example bridge from a previous project that has a lot of the same features of the bridge we are proposing for Bridge 6975, including that open metal bridge rail along the top and then the simulated stone masonry on the substructure elements. Here is a proposed bridge cross section showing our proposed superstructure. Starting at the bottom, our proposed beams for the bridge are pre-stressed concrete deck units. On top of that, we have a 6-inch minimum concrete deck and membrane waterproofing that will protect those beams. And then on top of that, we have 3 inches of bituminous pavement that will be used for the roadway surface, shown with that black area. Lastly, we will have that curb mounted open metal bridge rail along both sides of the bridge. This is a proposed bridge elevation. So we're looking at the side of the bridge. Starting on the top, again, we see that open metal bridge rail that terminates at the concrete end blocks at all 4 corners. Those end blocks will be treated with a form liner to create that stone masonry appearance. The superstructure and pre-stressed concrete deck units are shown in that orange area, and that will be supported by the concrete abutments and wing walls shown in that pink area. Under the bridge, we will be constructing a new channel that will consist of 1 foot minimum of natural stream bed material. This is a proposed roadway plan. So we're looking down at the site. In the center, we have our proposed structure in orange. The yellow areas are the limits of our proposed full depth roadway reconstruction. And then the green areas are the limits of proposed grading. Overall, the project limits are 190 feet long. We will be matching the existing roadway alignment as closely as possible to reduce impacts to the surrounding properties. This means we will need to match that existing horizontal curve, resulting in that varying shoulder width over the proposed bridge. Lastly, we will be relocating utilities that are currently along Industrial Park Road East to the downstream side of the bridge. We're also proposing a new sanitary sewer line that would connect from the system to the north of the bridge to the cul-de-sac to the south. Again, the exact location and supports for the utilities will be determined as design progresses. Construction for the bridge will use 2 stages to maintain traffic. During stage 1, temporary traffic barriers and pavement will be installed to maintain a travel lane along the upstream side of the existing bridge. This is a temporary single lane of alternating one-way traffic. This will provide a work zone to install earth retaining and water handling systems to remove portions of the existing culvert and begin construction of the proposed abutments and wing walls. The superstructure would then be installed and approach roadway reconstructed on the downstream side of the bridge. And then stage one of construction would conclude with the relocation of the water and gas mains and installation of new sewer main. Stage two of construction would proceed with relocation of the traffic handling devices to shift the travel lane to the superstructure and approaches that were constructed in stage one. The remaining portions of the culvert will be removed and the proposed abutments and wing walls will be constructed. The remaining superstructure will be installed in stage two. Will conclude with the approach roadway reconstruction, removal of temporary traffic devices, and then installation of the final pavement markings. We will get all the necessary environmental permits for the project, which includes a Tolland Inland Wetlands permit, as well as a U.S. Army Corps of Engineer general permit for the state of Connecticut. Now we're going to look at some anticipated property impacts. Construction of the bridge will require temporary construction easements from 5 abutting properties. Easements to install metal beam rail will be needed on 2 of those properties. And then there's also a partial take that may be required from 1 additional property. Again, these are preliminary impacts, so property impacts will be finalized and individual property owners will be contacted as design progresses. Anticipated schedule and cost. Right now, the construction is anticipated to start spring in 2027, which is subject to rights of way and permit approvals, with estimated construction duration of 6 to 8 months or 1 construction season. And the estimated construction cost is $2,367,000. And that would be funded with 80% federal funds, 20% state funds, and at no cost to the town. At this time, I'll turn it over to Zach Guarino from Connecticut DOT to talk about the rights of way process. Zach?
Yep, thanks, Dan. So again, my name is Zach Guarino, and I'm a project coordinator with the Department's Division of Rights of Way. Our office is responsible for acquiring the property rights that are needed for the project. And as Dan mentioned in the presentation, this project will require the acquisition of property rights. So I'd like to give you a brief overview of our process. Before I begin, again, I'd like to mention that the specific impacts are still being finalized and they may change as the design progresses, and that any required property rights will be acquired in accordance with Connecticut General Statute Sections 13A 73, 13A 98E, as well as the Uniform Act. And for those temporary construction easements, those will be extinguished after the project's completed. Change the slide. So the right-of-way acquisition process begins once the design has progressed to a development milestone and all the impacts have been determined. At this point, each affected property owner will receive a formal letter of intent to acquire from our office, along with a property map which depicts the exact property rights to be acquired. And on the screen here is an example of a property map that an owner may receive. It's going to be showing the existing conditions as well as the proposed improvements to the property. And our office will determine the fair market value of those property rights and use it to establish an offer of just compensation. That offer will be sent out to the property owner in writing, and a right-of-way agent will be available to meet with the property owner and explain the project, go over the specific impacts to their property, and explain how the state arrived at its offer. The property owner will be given a reasonable amount of time, typically 30 days, to consider the state's offer and enter negotiations. When an agreement is reached, the department will prepare all the necessary paperwork to record the deed and property map on the town land records. However, if agreement cannot be reached, in order to keep on schedule, the department may acquire the necessary property rights to its power of eminent domain. In that event, the state files a notice of condemnation in the Superior Court, along with a monetary deposit in the amount of the state's offer. The owner would have 6 months from that date to file an appeal if they felt that the state's offer was inadequate. Whether or not the owner chooses to appeal, the money deposited in the court is available to be withdrawn by the owner. And it's important to note that the state only acquires property rights that are needed for this specific project. If there are any questions regarding the right-of-way acquisition process, I can answer them after the presentation. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Michelle for Q&A. Thank you.
Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Dan. It's now time for our live Q&A session. You can send us your questions by email at dot-flbp@ct.gov or by phone, leaving us a voicemail at 860-594-2020. Please reference the project number 0142-0156 in the voicemail, or you can ask your questions now during our live Q&A. We currently do not have any questions in our chat. Oh, we just received one. Will the temporary roadway have a weight limit as we have many deliveries?
Hi, Michelle. I can ask, I can start with that first question about the temporary road and if there would be a weight limit. The short answer would be no. There's no existing weight limit on the existing bridge, which would be used for the first stage, and then stage 2, the newly constructed portion for the proposed bridge would meet all the standards for a newly constructed bridge. So there would not be a weight limit.
Thanks, Dan. Rachel is asking another question. She's just typing it out for us. Oh, here it is. We're at the top of the hill. Is there a concern with the angle to go off in the hill, up in the hill for large flatbed trucks? BRM needs deliveries from these, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'll start. I think it makes sense. So it sounds like there's a specific vehicle, large flatbed trucks, that make a lot of deliveries to BRM, which I'm assuming is one of the businesses at the end of Industrial Park Road East, BRM Industries. The temporary roadway will be designed to a design vehicle at a minimum for a large flatbed truck or single unit vehicle. And then, which basically means that a single unit vehicle or a large flatbed truck will be able to navigate through the traffic pattern with no issue. Some of the larger vehicles, anything larger, trailers, should be able to navigate it, but they may need to go into oncoming lanes or encroach partially onto other lanes temporarily to navigate through the temporary road. Again, it being a temporary condition, we do try to design the best we can to accommodate most vehicles, which typically is that the large flatbed or delivery vehicles or single unit vehicles.
Thanks, Dan. Let me know if that answered your question, Rachel. Yes, she added not in the circle, but up the hill.
Yeah, Michelle, just one thing to add to that too. We do on our temporary, on stage 1 too, we even provide some sort of temporary pavement to help vehicles make that turn between the two, the Industrial Park Road, end of Industrial Park Road East and our temporary lane. So we did look into the, maintaining access for vehicles turning through there. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Again, just to let everybody know, the comment period is open until July 7th. And so you could ask your questions here tonight during the live Q&A or send them to our email at dot-flbp@ct.gov or send us a voicemail at 594-2020. And please don't forget to reference the project number 0142-0156 in your voicemail so we know which project you're referring to. And we'll keep this open for a few more minutes for anybody who has more questions. Rochelle, please, oh, yeah, please feel free to ask more if you have more. She said she had a couple of questions pertaining her project, her house specifically. And so she said she would email you about those questions. I told her she could ask them here if she'd like, or if her preference was to email you, she could do that as well.
Okay. Thanks. And you're saying any emails would go to which email address?
Oh, it depends if she would like to email the dot-flbp at ct.gov. She can email them directly there. She was referring to some specific questions she had regarding her house directly or her property directly,
Okay.
but she's going to ask one more question here. She said, will the moving of the sewer from the north to the south side impact the access to the top of the hill businesses? I assume not, but I ask as we had to purchase that sliver of land in order to connect to the sewer a number of years ago. In access, I mean sewer rights.
Right. So I think, Michelle, I'll kind of start speaking towards what we anticipate right now for the project as far as sewer, just to kind of clarify what we're proposing. Let me pull up the roadway plan. So again, a lot of the utilities will be relocated to the downstream side of the proposed bridge. There's an existing sewer system to the north of the bridge that runs almost parallel to the brook. And then there's a sanitary sewer manhole or a manhole on the cul-de-sac side. We are proposing to connect to the sewer system with a sewer main along the downstream side of the bridge and connect to the sewer main. As far as access or sewer rights into the sewer main, has not been included as part of this project. So I can't speak directly to sewer rights or kind of anything that's been purchased in the past.
We received another question from Vincent. Just wondering if there's going to be a Zoom call or a public meeting for projects number 142, 157, and 142, 158, bridge number 6976 and 6977. If so, do you happen to know when that will be scheduled? Thanks.
Yeah, Michelle, if you want me to answer that, I'll
Go
just start by saying, so again, there's multiple projects in the industrial park. This is the first of three. We're talking about Industrial Park Road East tonight. The next two would be that 142-157 and 142-158, Industrial Park Road West and Gerber Drive culverts. There will be a virtual public information meeting for those coming up in the next couple months. But again, this is the first one tonight is Industrial Park Road East. It should be, we will be scheduling it later this summer for the Industrial Park Road West and Gerber Drive projects. And then as far as anything specific to when the projects will be going on at the same time, that'll be presented at that meeting later on this summer.
Thanks for answering that second question, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
We have no more questions right now, but we'll wait a couple more minutes to see if any more come in. Again, the comment period is open until Monday, July 7th, and you can submit your questions if you think of any more until that time frame is up. And you can send them to our email at dot-flbp I put it in the chat a couple of times so you can access it. The phone number is in there as well, 860-594-2020. Again, that's by voicemail, and please reference the project number in there as well, 0142-0156, tonight's project that we're working on. And we'll leave it open for a minute or two more for any questions you have here for us tonight. Okay, seeing no more questions, I'm gonna let you guys know that I'm gonna pop a survey link into the chat. Please fill this out. It's our volunteer survey link. It helps us with our future presentations. And without sounding like a broken record, I'll let you know that our comment period is open until July 7th. And please send us any questions you have if you think of them at dot.flbp@ct.gov or by phone at 860-594-2020. Reference the project number 0142-0156. You have until July 7th. I hope you have a great evening. Stay cool, stay hydrated, and have a great night. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.